All right, hey guys. Um, Here's take two for today, Wednesday the 22nd. It's actually like take 10. Has some interruptions and some glitches. So if I sound a little perturbed, it is not your fault. It is Miss Mean's fault for texting way more than I need her to, and my wife's fault for not understanding that when I say I'm making a video, that I'm making a video. But anyway, I digress. So here you go. You should have this ditto or this worksheet sent to you and have given it a try, I hope. But let's start how I would normally start this chapter by talking about toothpaste. Yes, toothpaste. And the question I would ask is, what are some of the things that you look for when deciding which toothpaste to use? Now, maybe, I don't know, Marcus says, I only use gel, I don't use paste. And then Dimitri says, I'm all about flavor, I only use peppermint, not cinnamon, whatever. Ava only wants to use whitening. Anthony wants stuff for because he has sensitive teeth. Then there's Ryan, who says, I'm worried about plaque, so I'm using the plaque whitening. Maybe who we missing? Who we missing? Courtney says, I only use a pump, not a tube. Or Kyle says, I want to use a flip top, not a screw on top. Maybe there's, I don't think I said him yet, Justin, who says he's very logical. He wants to say the number of dentists who recommend it is the most important, right? Only if 9 out of 10 dentists recommend it. I'm only going to use it if they do that. And then there's Marms, who says, I'm all about the character. If it doesn't have Spider-Man or Iron Man on it, I ain't using it. I ain't using that SpongeBob toothpaste. So really what we're talking about is differentiation, right? That's what makes monopolistic competition. We're talking about the pretty much the middle ground of the spectrum, right? So we did perfect competition. We talked about monopolies, and this is kind of right in the middle, right? There's some elements of monopolistic competition that are like a monopoly, and some elements of it that are more like perfect competition. So let's take a look. You have this in front of you, or I don't know if you printed it out, or at least you can look at it. All right. And the first question was, what are the curves? What are we looking at here? If you don't know that, we're in real trouble. All right. So I'm not even going to do one of those pause the video and figure it out type things. Right. Good God, if we don't know that price always goes here, quantity always goes here, go back to training school or whatever. All right. Next, you know that this is not perfect competition. Anything that's not perfect competition is imperfect competition, and let's start the clock, whatever. Which means that your marginal revenue curve always falls underneath your demand. So that's your demand, that's your marginal revenue in each case. We can A. All right, your U-shaped curve, yes, Scan. It could either be ATC or AVC. What's more important? Usually more important is ATC, and that's the case here. So these are all ATC curves. I'm not going to get into why they're U-shaped. We'll do that when we're reviewing. All right. But ATC curves are U-shaped. The one that looks like a Nike swoosh, even though it doesn't look like it as much on yours, right, is your marginal cost curves. And you can figure that out because, again, you should know one's U-shaped, one's generally increasing or decreasing then increasing. And in each case, the one that's generally upward sloping hits the one that's U-shaped at its minimum. That one doesn't look... That one could be a little bit better, but again, you guys know the idea. More importantly, it's about what's happening in each situation, right? Who's making bank, who is in trouble, and who's just breaking even. Okay, so let's start with this guy in the middle. What's happening with him? Well, for any market structure anywhere, whether it's perfect competition, oligopoly, monopoly, monopolistic competition, the sweet spot is always MC equals MR. That's where they should be producing. So that's their quantity. But these people have market power. We know they have market power. We know that it's not perfect competition because downward sloping demand curve, marginal revenue curve is not the same thing as the demand curve. It's falling under it. So they know they can jack up the price. How much? As much as demand will allow them to. So that's going to be their price. Great. What does that mean? That means that's their total revenue, right? They get that much of a price, that many times. You know, I just got new marker. Well, this is an old marker, but I just got the new marker, so I'm trying not to over that. That's their total revenue. But what's their total cost? Their total cost, when they're making this number of items, right, it costs them that much each time, right? So their total cost is that much, that many times. Okay, so if total cost is everything in red and total revenue is only black and red, go Bulldogs. Sorry about the season sports people. Believe me, I am. That means that the difference, just the red, is your, just red is your loss, right? So they're losing that much, that many times, right? So that firm is not doing so well. Let's talk about this guy over here. This guy over here, or lady, same thing. Marginal cost equals marginal revenue. That's their sweet spot. That's where they want to produce. Okay, so they're producing that many, and they're not going to accept that price. They're going to jack their price up as high as they can. How high can they jack it up to demand? Right, so that's gonna be the price that they give, right? So in this case, they're getting that much of a price this many times. So their total revenue is all this blue. That's their total revenue. How much does it cost them each time they do that? It costs them whatever that price is that many times. So their total cost, appropriately, is the black and blue, right? But their total revenue is just the blue, or anything that's blue. So the stuff that's blue and not black, that's their profits. This guy's doing well, all right? So total cost, total revenue, profit. And that should look just like everything we've always done. But before we do this one, which now you should know is the firm just breaking even, let's talk about why he's just breaking even. Why is he just breaking even? Because the other key element of monopolistic competition, differentiation, right? Many firms, and ease of entry, right? Low barriers, right? Anybody can get in or get out whenever they want. So what's going to happen here? People are going to get out, right? Loss. If this is a typical firm, that's a significant loss. I want out. But if you hang around, what does it mean? What happens for you when the other firms get out? More demand for you. So your demand shifts right. What happens over here? Okay? Over here, people see, look at that, man. That's a nice profit you're getting there in just that blue area without the black in it. I want in on that. So other firms are going to enter. What does that mean for you, the firm who's still in there? Your demand is going to shift to the left because now there's other firms that are going to go, that customers are going to go to. When is that going to stop? Right here. Again, theoretically, right? So in this situation, right, where's your sweet spot? The sweet spot's here, right? So I'm going to produce that quantity. I'm going to jack the price up as far as I can to here. So in that case, what's your profit? What's your loss? Or your revenue, right? I'm making whatever that price is that many times. So that not a great color to use, probably on the video, I don't know if you can see it. So that is my total revenue. Well, what is my total cost? Well, each time I make this many, it's costing me that much. And I did it that many times. So guess what? Your total revenue is your total cost. Okay, so in monopolistic competition, or really, again, this could go for any of them, right? Any of the imperfect situations, right? This guy is just breaking even or making normal profits, zero economic profits. You know, there's so many ways to say it. This guy's got a loss. Woohoo. And this guy's making profit, which he cannot sustain. Why? Oh, sorry. This guy should be happy. That guy's making profit, right? Which he cannot sustain, and this loss won't be as bad forever for everybody because entry and exit, and you're always going to end up here, right? Always, always, always. So now I am going to ask you to pause for a second and do the next part and draw the curve for the perfectly competitive firm in long run equilibrium. Okay. You don't actually have to pause because I'm going to take a second to draw it. Okay, and good golly, Miss Molly, hopefully we got this. Okay, perfect competition. Bam, Mr. DARP. Because marginal revenue, demand, average revenue, and price is all the same thing. Price and quantity. All right. And in long run equilibrium, when firms have had time to enter and exit the market, you're going to end up like that every time. So again, magic spot. Marginal revenue hits marginal cost. That's my quantity. That's my price, which means that that's my total revenue, but it's also my total cost because it's the minimum of my, or it's where my average total cost hits. Okay, so more importantly for us right now, again, pause, take a second, just sit right there. I'll tell you how. I'm sorry, excuse me. And I want you to think about that next question. What are the similarities between this graph and the one for letter C from above? Think about similarities and differences for just a second, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so similarities. The one really important one, hoping this still comes through. So that's, and again, that's long run, right? This is long run. For perfect competition. This is long run for monopolistic competition. Close enough. Okay, so what do you notice? For both, okay, for both, your ATC is tangent, is touching your demand curve, okay, in each situation, and that means that's going to be your price, okay. So in both, your price is equal to your ATC. It should really be. I gotta change this, guys. I'm not starting the video again. I'm sorry. It's like I can't even tell you how many times I've done it. But notice what I'm doing here. It's a little better. It's so hard. The point is, it's not at its minimum ATC. Here, clearly it is, right? It's so much easier to draw that way. You're not at your minimum ATC in monopolistic competition. Okay, so a couple other things. For both, demand dash price hits ATC. But in perfect competition, right, price, that's not right, is equal to marginal cost. Oh yeah, in perfect competition, price is equal to marginal cost. Not here, right? Marginal cost, price is way above in monopolistic competition. Okay, so again, similarity, they both have demand or price tangent with average total cost, but in perfect competition, price is also equal to marginal cost, which is why it's allocatively efficient. Okay, in monopolistic competition, your price is above marginal cost. Price above. Maybe that's why I screwed up because I didn't label it marginal cost. Okay. So what does that mean though? That means they want to sell more. All right. Perfect competition doesn't really care. It's like they're making what they can anyway. And in perfect competition, right, your price is equal to what? To your minimum ATC. That's really the big difference. That's your minimum ATC. Here, again, as crummy as I drew it, it's tangent to ATC, but it's not at ATC's minimum. You know that ATC's minimum comes where ATC hits MC, which means they have excess capacity. They could continue to produce more and continue to lower their average total cost, but they don't want to because that's going to reduce their profits, which means this is not productively efficient. Right. It's not productively efficient or allocatively efficient. This is the only one that is. It's both productively efficient because they're at the low point of their ATC, and it's allocatively efficient because it's at marginal cost hitting marginal revenue. Okay. Okay, so perfect competition, the price is at the minimum. ATC, monopolistic competition, the quantity is less than the quantity than it would be. If you produce where you're at your minimum ATC, the quantity would be higher, right? You're producing here, right? So lower quantity because you're choosing not to go to your minimum ATC, okay? The terminology you want to use with that is excess capacity, right? You could make more, you're just choosing not to because it's going to increase your profits, all right? So isn't inefficient? Yeah, kind of. And this, this is completely efficient, allocatively and productively. So here again, you have unrealized trades, right? You could be getting to at least to this point, right? So again, you're going to have a triangle of deadweight loss, right? So the terms you want to associate that with that are excess capacity, which I just said, and some people will say wasteful duplication, right? And a good example of that, well, let me hold off on that. The flip side of it is, though, and why they don't, come down on monopolistically competitive firms is because it brings you closer to consumer satisfaction, right? So the really good example of this is you might say, why do we need two different pizzerias in the same food court? Pizza's pizza. If people want pizza, they can go. It's wasteful to have two pizzerias. But the more firms that they have, the closer the consumer can get to exactly what they want, right? So again, it seems silly around me that they have 4 or 5 different pizzerias in the same area. Let's hope that they're still there after all of this. When unfortunately I've already seen a decent amount of firms go down. Can't imagine the number of people who are out of work. Anyway, but for my not this is not totally true, but for this example, the more firms that are out there, the higher number of firms that are out there, that gives me the choice of, you know what, tonight I feel like a pepperoni pie, I'm going to Sal's. But for the Hawaiian pepperoni and ham pie, I'm going to Dimitri's, right? And I don't care what Chef Ramsay says, pineapple, ham and bacon pizza, or whatever. Pineapple on pizza is totally fine and quite delicious. However, if I want linguine and clam sauce, then I'm going to Giuseppe's, whatever. The more there are, the more options the consumer has. So just like a lot of other things, it's a trade-off. Yeah, maybe it's wasteful duplication or excess capacity. In a communist society, they might be like, "This is the pizza you get. Shut up and take it." That's capitalism. You get a greater opportunity to choose what you want. All right, so I think that's about it. The biggest thing is that the similarities and differences between perfect comp and monopolistic comp, and then how monopolistic comp compares to oligopoly and monopoly. All right, so check that out. I want you to try. Obviously, it's almost 4 o'clock. This probably won't get updated or uploaded until who the hell knows. Try questions. Do 1 to 4 for the next assignment. 1 through 4 in the text. Sketch what you can. Take pictures. If you can, sketch it out on a Google Doc, whatever. Try that. I really do want to move through monopolistic competition pretty quick and get to the review. All right, so try that. Again, I apologize if I was a little perturbed today, or in this video. Was much happier 2 hours ago before people started interrupting me, and hopefully it won't lead to any domestic situations later tonight. Extra credit. Let's do this. What type of hat is this? I'm gonna start giving you a different hat for each episode. God knows I have a lot of hats, and I have a feeling we're going to be doing this until June. And one. Mr. Recycling, please help me. I'm trying to be a better recycler too. What do I do with this? It's metal, so it should go in the metal day, but then it's paper. So I don't know. I called my stepfather and I asked him, and he hung up on me because he's a jerk, and he didn't appreciate that I was calling him at 10 o'clock at night to ask him that. All right, guys. That's it for today. Today is Wednesday. You probably won't watch this until Thursday. Be well. Stay safe. Make sure you sign up for those AP tests. All right? And that's it. Catch you next time.